What's good, guys? It's TSG. In today's video, we have a special guest, Kieran Warwick, one of the co-founders of Illuvium. Thank you so much for coming on my channel, man. How are you?
Good, man. Good to see you, TSG. I think this is my first time on your channel, right?
Yeah, I've been super persistent. I apologize for that, but this is the first time.
It's all right. All
Uh,
good. All good. Yeah, man. Doing well.
That's good. That's good, man. Yeah, I'm super excited to have the chat with you because obviously Land's coming up. Where there's a lot of excitement about it. You've given us some alpha about it, and I just want to get into a bit more of the gritty details. So I'm not going to waste any time. Let's get straight into it. The first thing that I want to talk about, man, is like a general breakdown of Land in Illuvium compared to like the metaverse. There's so much talk about Land in the metaverse, utility, promised utility, just a lot of like talk. Whereas you guys have actually coming into this situation with actual utility, something that's already built around the Land. Do you mind going into that a bit deeper? Like, just give us a breakdown of what Land is in Illuvium and kind of talk about that
Sure.
a little bit more. Thanks.
Yeah. So the first and foremost, we'll never do anything without utility, and we've not even like, okay, we've got Land and now we need an idea of how we're going to bring in the utility. Like, the Illuvium Zero alpha exists, and that's what the Land is for. It's literally a game that you're going to be playing that's a companion game to the Illuvium game. But to break it down and how that utility works, essentially there's 100,000 land plots in total across the Illuvium universe, across 7 different regions. And they're all unique regions. And why the regions matter is when you're scanning for different blueprints, more common alluvials are found in different regions. For example, Crimson Waste, you're more likely to find fire-based alluvials. So that's really important when you're talking about blueprints. In this first sale, we're selling 20%, which is 20,000 plots. So to give you an idea on that, we've had about 110,000 registrations purely for Land. Obviously, much more for Illuvium in total, but just purely for Land. So there's quite a bit of there's quite a few people that are looking, and there is a bit of hype behind what we're doing. And the reason, the main reason, is because landowners have the potential to earn approximately 5% of all of the in-game revenues that are produced from Illuvium. Now, obviously, that can be quite a substantial amount of revenue. And so it's effectively like buying land in Illuvium is buying your own business, right? And on that land, what you're supposed to do is try and build up as much production and as much extraction of fuel as you possibly can from your land.
Yeah.
Now there's 5 different tiers. So tier 0 is free. So let's just cover that off first.
Yeah.
You can play Illuvium Zero for free, won't cost you anything, and you can try it out. And the reason we do that, if you don't like it, you haven't spent any money, right? You don't lose anything. We always try and make it fair. From 1 to 4, obviously it's slowly, the amount of production increases as you go up the different tiers until you get to a tier 5, which has something really, really unique. And that's our arenas, where you can literally host our esports tournaments. And
crazy.
As you know, we're going to be breaking the record for the largest esports tournament in history. Having that on your land gives you the ability then to sell naming rights to the stadium, sponsorships, and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, for anything from a tier 1 to a tier 5 can potentially be turned into your own like little business inside of Illuvium.
Yeah. Now I love how you're calling it a business. I watched that video with Najif as well. Like your land, your business. It was a good video. Um,
I loved
I'll
it.
put that in the description below, just for anyone that wants to watch. It was a good video. But yeah, so while you were just talking there, you touched on two things. You touched on Illuvium providing fuel, so the land, sorry, providing fuel for the main game, and as well as blueprints. So are they the two main for those that don't know and are kind of just getting into this now? Are they the two main utilities for land? Is there something else that we haven't discussed yet, or are they the two main things?
They're the two main things. Never rule out additional
Possibility, yeah.
utility that we come up with. Maybe, yeah, I don't even want to say it because I don't even want to open that can
You're
of
about to
worms.
say something.
But yeah, no. So let's just go with those
Yep.
two. That's the utility. Yeah.
Easy. Yo, can you with those things, do you mind like going a bit more in depth into those things? Because even for myself, where I've kind of been around Illuvium, I've spent a lot of time there. I get the blueprints. Can you explain like how the land, the fuel works a little bit more? Because I don't really understand fully how that process works. Like how, yeah, just yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't even know how to question this, how to frame that question.
So essentially there is a pool. There's a liquidity pool,
Yep.
and as people mine or extract the fuel from Illuvium Zero, they get this fuel, right?
Yep.
And there's many different types of fuels in the game. And depending on what type of fuel you are extracting, that has a
different use case
for it. Yeah, there's a use case on the other side, right? So let's take Solons, for example, right? So and again, this might change the game design team, but the basics are there, right? Solons, for example, you need Solons in order to be able to travel, right? So you want to go to different regions, you need to be able to you need to literally use Solon to be able to travel. Now, how that works on the other side, you've got people who are extracting the Solons and they're selling it into the pool. Then on the other side, those people who are purchasing it, so the landowners are selling the Solon and they're extracting ETH back out of that. And on the other side, the guys, so effectively, if you call it a $10 transaction, they're receiving 50 cents on one side, right? And on the other side, they're obviously purchasing that fuel to go and travel, right? So how that gets sort of interesting is it can go up and down by 25%. And so you might be traveling for $10 one day, and then because everyone in Illuvium Zero is holding back their sale of Solons, you're going to see an increase. Now, the opposite can happen, right? If there's a massive rush for landowners to sell their Solons, then you're going to see travel go down. And that's where this real world economy comes in. And that might trigger people to go, okay, it's collecting season. You know what I mean? Like get into as many regions as possible because it's 25% off, right? To go and it's effectively, and like a travel in our case is like picking up a packet of cards, right? So imagine if Pokemon went out and said, holy God, due to a printing issue, like our factories are down or whatever, and so therefore the cost of Pokemon cards has gone up, or vice versa.
Same kind
so
of
that's
vibes,
so that's how it gets really interesting, right? Like it becomes real world money then, and it's a true marketplace where you have buyers and sellers on both sides.
I'm super interesting for that, to actually see the marketplace like work in real time in a real world sense. So I'm super interested for that. There was one thing you mentioned about if, for example, say I'm a landowner, I choose to sell that to the pool, is there also an option to keep that for your own personal use. For example, say you have Solon and you want to use it to travel yourself. Do you need to sell it to the pool, or can you personally use that yourself?
You can use it inside of Illuvium Zero.
Yeah.
So it can be like not you. So you obviously use elements to build things as well, but there will be some things where you actually use the fuel as well.
Yeah.
In terms of being able to utilize that in game without sort of being able to do a direct transfer, I'm not sure.
Right.
Actually,
That's a good question then.
Yeah, no, it is a good question. It's something that I've thought about before, but I haven't. I mean, in my eyes, it's an ERC20, right? So unless we are going to build into the ERC20 that it's non-transferable outside of our ecosystem, which we may do, it's something that we talked about potentially doing for even alluvials. But I'm of the thought process that you make everything open, right? Like you don't, like, this is blockchain. Anything that's a token, anything that's on chain should theoretically be public and transferable to anyone.
It's the whole the ownership conversation, right? If you own it, you should be able to do what you want. So I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
You should be. But then again, there's downstream effects to that, like people setting up separate pools and stuff like that. So I don't want to say that's what we are doing, because it's very, very possible that we might have to lock that down.
Yeah.
But it's a conversation. Sure,
it's a conversation that's being had, which is fine. Yeah, I get that. All right, man. Yo, I want to, because that kind of covers like the very basic, the fundamentals of what the land is. The next thing that I want to kind of talk about is actually the sale that's coming up. So for anyone that doesn't know, June 2nd, correct? Yeah, actually I know that.
Yep.
June 2nd. And it's a Dutch auction for tier 1 to 4 and an English auction for the tier 5. And you kind of, we've already seen with the latest proposal that you guys have upped the starting price quite, I won't say quite a lot, but you guys have upped it up, put it up, for the reason that you don't want people buying it at the very beginning. And so with conversations that I've had with other content creators, community members, there's a consensus around outside of the Illuvium team that we're hoping for like a 50% drop. That's when we start to buy in. And you guys have said openly that you don't want us to buy at the top. Is there a number that you guys want to see a drop to consider that like the decision you've made as a successful Dutch auction to let it play out? Are you hoping to like a 70, 80, 40? Like where are you guys at with that? And I understand if you don't want to give an exact number, but just talk about that in general, if that's okay. 60 to 75% would be my ideal. Right.
I like 666. That number, 66.6%. Let's go with that.
Yeah, fair. And yeah, okay. And I feel like, would that be the same? Would you say that that's the same for all tiers? Because I can imagine people scooping up tier 1 even at like 80%.
No. So that would be an average of the entire sale. I think that there's going to be more decay on the tier 4s and tier 3s compared to the tier 1s. There's too much SILV2 circulating. Like those tier 1 plots, like obviously there's like 9,000 of them. There's a lot, but at 2 ETH with SILV, you know, what's that in SILV, like 15 or something? So it's
so it's going to be because even like for the
I don't know. I don't like predicting. I don't like predicting these things, but I mean, if you're asking for my personal opinion, around about that 60 to 70 mark, I think is ideal. We definitely do not want people to FOMO in. Now we've said the exact same thing to the balancer sale, and you know, people just did it anyway. So we can say it as much as we want, and I think a lot of our core community, like the true OGs, like the 50, 60,000 people that have been with us for like, call it that first 3 to 6 months. They know. They have like, they have their strategy locked in, and I think they're sitting around that 60 to 70% range is my thought. You go down to 50, it's like, ooh, maybe I've waited too long, but That's the cool thing. They're in batches, right? So
Yeah.
if you miss one, there's another batch and another batch and another batch. And so, a 2.5% decay every 2 minutes,
Yeah.
plus so many different batches, plus over 3 days. We're really, really trying to make it as accessible as possible for everyone. And so, just don't FOMO, please.
Actually, and I want to ask, you kind of just got me thinking about this. Talking about making it accessible for everyone, there's been conversations that I don't think we've really had an answer, but during the land sale with these batches, are we as the public going to be able to see like the average buy price for certain tiers? So for example, if we know previously the average is, let's say 60% of starting price, we can try scope it at higher or lower. Like, is there a way that we can see that, or we're just kind of guessing? Not guessing, but but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can pull the data pretty easily if you know how to do it on chain. So no, we won't be making like a dashboard of like the average strike price for tier 1s, tier 2s, tier 3, because then it's going to create a gas wall. People are going to be sitting there going, oh, the average price is 1.77 ETH for a plot 1. So I'm going to not only like manually, like humans sitting there, people just program bots.
Yeah.
I mean, you could literally program a bot to look at whatever the dashboard average price per tier on a active basis, meaning when it changes to 1.88, the strike price of the bot changes to 1.88. So it is exactly hitting that. And then 1,000 people do that, and all of a sudden,
I can see how that's going to cause a lot of problems. Yeah, and I get that. So it looks like all of us are going to need to figure out how to look on chain and get pretty savvy quickly.
Yep.
All right, man. I don't want to take too much of your time because I actually need to get to my job as well. So I want to go to the next point, which is a tweet. The tweet that you put out. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The lending tweet. So what we're now able to, we're not going to call it a scholarship. We're now able to lend our land and share profits. Like, that's the only information we have about this was your tweet. So please feel free to go into as much detail as you want about it and tell us exactly what you mean.
Sure. So you will essentially be able to lend out your land, and any profit that is made on that, there'll be a configurable split that you as the land owner and the person who is leasing that land off you will make a split. It's usually 70-30, as in 30% goes to the person who's leasing that land and 70% goes to the owner. It makes sense for Illuvium Zero, and that's why I was very specific when I said that this is a platform that we're specifically building for Illuvium Zero. Is Illuvium in the conversation in terms of what sort of a vehicle we'll use to be able to lend out assets in that way? Yes, but this is specifically for Illuvium Zero, and the reason is there's less nuances of like little things that you can basically only sell a blueprint, and even blueprints in this system, we're trying to work out like, is it, do we allow someone to sell a blueprint? Is that hey, I would like to sell this blueprint, and that has to be a confirmation from the landowner to accept that sale?
Yeah.
There's some complexity there, but in terms of like the fuel side of it, very straightforward, right? You're extracting a whole bunch of fuel, you're selling that back into a pool that's producing ETH. That ETH is then split in whatever, you might make it 50-50, 70-30, whatever, we don't care. But it allows people who aren't necessarily going to like over the moon about a city builder game, right? Like, it doesn't do it for me. It just doesn't, like, I'm being honest. A lot of other people it does. If you go into the Illuvium Zero channel, fuck those guys, they love it, right? But you know, for me, I don't, and I sat there and I was kind of like, it's losing me, right? Like Illuvium Zero is losing me because I know I'm not going to want to play it. So I need the ability to give other people the option to play on my land, and then I actually, what triggered me and just said, like, we have to do this no matter what, was Fancy Birds, because I started lending out my birds, and I've come back like 2 weeks later, and I'm like, shit, I made like $500 here, like that, and I barely even touched the surface. And I thought about it, and I was like, that would make me so, like, this whole system, if I had this with Illuvium Zero, I'm buying way more land.
I'm of the same opinion now. Like, I'm trying to get as much as I can now because of that. Because, like you, I wasn't that interested in. I'll be again honest. I wasn't that interested in the city builder. I decided to get land because of the whole content creation side. I was like, I should get into it to talk about it and just share the information. But then the blueprints and now this lending thing. This is actually getting me excited for getting involved in that system as well. So with that system, how far along, like, because you tweeted about it, I don't know, is that one of those Kieran tweets and then work on it later, or was it already being worked on and then you tweeted about it? What was, like,
so it's a conversation that I've been having. It wasn't an alien idea, right? Like, it just didn't just come out of the woodwork, you know, like this. Obviously scholarships are a thing, and you know, we're not calling them that, but at the same time, it's effectively someone doesn't have the capital to put it up.
The concept is the same. The concept is the same.
So yeah, man, like, to be honest, I think it's going to be an awesome game in the end, because there's so much financial, like, there's this real world market that we've created. Even if you're not interested in a city builder game, when you're leasing it out and you've got the option of, like, oh my God, okay, on the land that we've scanned a super, super rare alluvial, we've scanned the biodata, oh my God, we've got this blueprint. Like, you have so much. You can either continue minting that blueprint and that you own that skin of that armor forever, and, like, yes, you're not interested in that, but, like, in terms of the actual game mechanics, but the economic side of it is where it becomes fun for someone like me. You know, whereas without that, it just wasn't doing it for me. And so, yes, like, we've been talking about this for a long, long time. Have we started building it? No. Is it easy to build? Yes.
Oh shit.
So it's not, you know, it's not, I mean, when I say easy, I mean, like, we're building some pretty crazy shit.
I mean, it's,
like, I've been talking to Johnny about this for the last 6 months, and he's like, yeah, we'll build it. It's, like, low on the priority list. Then I was like, dude, I'm about to tweet this. Like, you need to guarantee me that this is going to be in by the time that we switch on yield. And he was like, yep, 100%. It's not that hard to build. Like, it's fine.
If Johnny said so, it has to be, so, like, essentially with Illuvium Zero, again, like you talked about, so this, from what I can see, there's 3 things to look forward to. There's the gameplay for people that like that type of gameplay. 2, there's the like, free market economic side, which is what I'm actually into. And the third thing is, like, the somewhat collectible side with the blueprints and the rare collectibles. So those are the 3 things that I'm seeing out of Illuvium Zero and what owning land gives you. Are those the 3 main things? Is there anything else? I think I hit those, right?
That's you've got it nail on the head.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. Yo, honestly, again, how long we've been going for, like 24 minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
No
man. Before I let you go, is there anything that you kind of want to, like, leave everyone with? Is there, like, what's the biggest takeaway you want to leave everyone with, whether it be the land sale, just Illuvium Zero in general, or just anything in general, to be honest, man?
Yeah, so look, a lot of people are going to, in this space, a lot of people are going to sell you things on the basis of an idea, right? Like this, it's very easy to come out and put together a bunch of, you know, pretty pictures and say, yeah, we're going to build this, right? We are not that. And I want to make that very, very clear. We will never do anything unless it has proper real world utility. And Illuvium Zero, that alpha, we are literally playing that right now. Grant's souping up the graphics at the moment, but there's a game there. It's built, right? And too many times I see people going down the rabbit hole of buying shit based on, these empty promises that are just like, maybe they'll come in a year, 2 years, 3 years. This is real. And, like the Illuvium beta that's out there, people are going to be playing this very, very soon. Yeah. And so, just think about that before, you make the call on which land you want to buy across the metaverse.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's an awesome way to close this out, man. Again, honestly, thank you so much for your time, for coming on, talking to us. For everyone else, if follow Kieran on Twitter if you're not already, I'm sure you are. Awesome alpha, and if you just want a bit of a laugh, always a good place to go. But yeah, for anyone watching, like, subscribe, notification, you know what to do, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.